Hi, welcome to episode 4 of The Making of Repeat. When I was at school, I was absolutely awful at English, and I continue to be to this day. If I was to write in this notepad, you would not understand a word of it. My spelling and grammar is crap, and so is my handwriting. It doesn't mean that we're not decent storytellers though. In the last year, we've been nominated for 3 awards for our screenplay on Can't Hide It, our last short film, and we actually managed to win one of them. For me, screenwriting is just getting the story that's already in my head into a computer, onto a script, and passed to our cast and crew to make our films. It doesn't matter that the screenplay may lack some of the detail that a professional screenwriter would put into it, because we're telling our own stories. So it doesn't matter so much that if we were to pass on to another director, they wouldn't be able to understand the text, because we can fill in those blanks. What is important is that we're good storytellers though. And for me, there's 3 really important topics that you need to pick up to be a good storyteller. And the first one is mystery. So mystery, does that mean that you can't know what the end of the film is? Well, no. One of the highest grossing films ever is Titanic, and I think most people know it's about a big sinking boat and they know how the film's going to end. But Titanic really isn't a disaster film. It's a drama film with the background of it being a disaster in the background. It's about Jack and Rose and learning about who these characters are and where they're going to end up and how they get there. And also about how Titanic actually sunk. So it does raise a few questions. So Titanic in itself has a few questions that the viewer doesn't know going in. For our film, it's slightly different. We have set up a mystery on purpose. It's much more akin to, say, a guy waking up in a cell and there's a timer on the wall and the timer's going down and there's chanting in the background within earshot, and you can hear this chanting getting louder and louder as the timer goes down. Who is this guy? What's his background? What's happening to him in the future? Creating those mysteries is what's interesting to the end viewer of your film. If you're creating a mystery, then the viewer is trying to second guess what happens next, and they want to be the smart ass that's outplayed the screenwriter and guessed before the film gets to that point what's going to happen. And it makes the viewer engaged in the film and constantly thinking about what happens next. And we've tried to do that in Repeat as much as possible. We've actually raised some questions in our synopsis for the film. It's about a missing girl. So where has she gone missing? Where has she gone to? I'm not going to talk any more about our own film, but it's really a mystery, and J.J. Abrams says that, you know, it's called a mystery box. You've got a mystery at the start of the film, you open that box up, there's a question that's being answered inside the box, but then there's another box, and you open that box and there's another question inside that. So a mystery box is about creating a question that leads to another question, to leads to another question, and keeps the viewer engaged. And we've tried to do that as much as possible within our sci-fi movie, while still hopefully having a satisfying ending that we've planned out. The second point is characters. So every film has characters, right? Well, not every film has fantastic characters. If you look at your favourite films, they probably have really good characters in them. So Star Wars, for example, any Disney film, any Marvel film has really strong characterizations, and the scripts have been written to have strong characters, and the actors that have been chosen have been picked because they portray strong characterizations. You want to come out of that film having an emotional connection to those characters, whether you absolutely love them or whether you hate them. And again, a character should have an arc. Just as a story should have a beginning, middle and end, so should the character. A character should have a story arc. Luke Skywalker starts off in a desert as just a kid in the backwater in the middle of nowhere, but he ends up as an all-powerful Jedi, and that's because he's got a character arc which transforms that character from being one thing to being something completely different at the end of the film. And that may be that their viewpoint of the world has changed, or they've physically changed by the end of the film. It doesn't really matter, but having a journey for your character, again, engages the viewer, and that's what it's all about, is as much as possible. Engage the viewer, make them love or hate your characters. My third point, and what I think is really important, is dialogue. Dialogue is really important. And why is dialogue important? Surely, again, every film has dialogue. But if dialogue's bad, it stands out like a hamster in a bag of chips. It's really noticeable. If your character is just performing monologue after monologue all the way through the film, you'll notice it, unless your character is characterised as just saying monologues and it's something that you want to highlight. But very often, just short, snappy dialogue is much more engaging for for the end viewer. And again, that's what you have to think about. Who's watching your film and what do they want to see? Do they want to see monologue after monologue, or dialogue that's over the top, that's written in a Quentin Tarantino way? I wouldn't really recommend that people try and write like Quentin Tarantino, because there is only one of him, I think, that can write dialogue like him. For the rest of us, we're just trying to write dialogue that is interesting for the viewer and it doesn't stand out too much, that it's written for the character. It's often said that if you look at a screenplay and you look at a script, you should be able to read any line of dialogue and be able to say it belongs to that character without the name actually being above the dialogue. And that's what really strong characterization is. So if you can link your dialogue to the character, you're onto a winner, and by doing that, creating an emotional connection. So they're the three things that I really find important in screenplays: is create a mystery, create a character that you care about, whether you love or hate, and also have fantastic dialogue. And when I say fantastic dialogue, that just means the dialogue that fits your characters and is interesting to listen to without standing out in a film as being corny or cheap. So that's it from me. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our process, about some of the things that we find useful and some of the things that we've learned over the years from writing screenplays and making better stories. Repeat, we've been writing for the last year. We started in January 2019 and we finished it in around December 2019. It took a year to write. Before that, I'd written about 5 screenplays and chucked away every one of them halfway through because I wasn't happy with the script. This one, we finally got a script that we're happy with, and hopefully the end viewer will see that we've tried to build in some of the things I've spoken about today. If not, you can pull me up on this video afterwards. So thanks again for watching me ramble on. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share this video as much as possible, so people can laugh at our views on screenplays. And again, thank you very much for carrying on and enjoying our journey, and hope to see you on our next video. Goodbye.